So we've got hierarchical bonds and horizontal bonds. And the reason that I'm sharing this is because it's vitally important to understand the ways that we attempt to get things in our life and why we attempt to get things in the ways that we do. So if you look over here at the hierarchical bonds, what you've got are so this is based on the orders of love in family constellations that says your parents came before you and your grandparents came before them. And fundamentally, you depended on your parents for your even existing. They gave birth to you. And in what's called the orders of love in family constellations, we honor the fact that the parents came first and the grandparents came before them and their parents came before them. And what happens, just like a river flows downstream, right? Love also, you could say, love flows downstream through the generations, from the grandparents to the parents to the child. On a literal level, it's impossible for a child to give birth to their parent. A parent does not depend on their child, unless they did. Meaning, many times what will happen is that a child, and this was the case in my childhood and most of us who end up in constellations, many times a child will learn to take care of their parent. So the child took care of the parent, and what happens is, you see how this, in the hierarchical bonds, the love is flowing downhill. The child ends up here somewhere. And what happens is that the love can't flow down to them because they're above their parent. They're taking care of their parents. And so what happens, and this plays an important part, is that the child ends up taking the place of actually the grandparent because they're now being the parent to their own parent. This is where our associations happen. It's really important oftentimes to look at what was present in the grandparents to shift these entanglements and associations or identifications. Then, so that's in the family. Then we go over here to the horizontal bonds. These are all of our typical connections with people, right? So from one parent to the other, from a friend to a friend, from a partner to a partner. Any of the connections that we have in the world. Sometimes people ask about siblings. It depends. If you're older, younger, there's some dynamics there that are a little more subtle. But in general, and oftentimes this will play out in our romantic partnerships, right? So we'll focus on that for a second. Many times we try to get from our partner what we needed from our parents. That's been true in my life and just about all of us. And what that's saying is, I needed more from a parent, and I'm trying to find it. And so I find someone who will maybe fill that gap. But here's the deal, is that our partner is intended to be equal to us. But what we're doing is we're putting them in the place of our parent. We're putting them above us. Oftentimes this interacts with us having been our parent's parent. And it gets real messy as probably each of us know in our own way, that I had to be my parents' parent, and then now I'm looking to my partner to try to get what I needed, but I'm also used to the role of being the parent, and it just goes really wonky, right? So ideally, what we get to do is to understand what we needed from our parents and what we've been trying to get from partners, and separate those out so that we can honor and recognize what we needed from our parents, hopefully find ways to get that for ourselves and not require it from the people around us unconsciously. Take, for example, physical intimacy. A lot of us needed that from our parents as children, and we didn't get it. And we look to other people to get it. It's a very common one. There's a way of doing that that's unconscious, and there's a way of doing it that is conscious. And that's, consensual and agreed upon, and understanding the dynamics there. Any thoughts or questions on that? We'll just kind of keep it to the simple.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
You said that like when a child doesn't get what they need from the parent, or they become bigger than their parent, they often look to their partner to get that from their partner, but don't in the same way, can they also sometimes tend to be a parent to their partner?
Yeah,
Okay. So it
yeah,
could be either or it could be both.
yep,
Yeah. Okay. That's
absolutely. Yeah, because
okay.
there's some people that were not parentified children is the term for when they took care of their parents. So if a child was able to be a child, but they didn't get everything they needed, they might look for a partner to be their parent or to fill the role of their parent. Oftentimes, like in my case, I've tended to find partners who filled the role of like my child because I was used to being the parent.
Yeah.
So it can happen. Yeah,
I
it can
I
happen
I
on
feel
number of
like I've seen both of those in myself where like certain relationships I can think of where I wanted like I was looking for something from them that I didn't get from my dad, and I also wanted to and did things to try and become the like filling the gap for the mother that they never had. So it was
yeah,
like a simultaneous like I'm big.
yeah, totally. And part of what you're speaking to there is the meeting of the two worlds of each person.
Mm-hmm.
That we feel that because that other person has their dynamics going on with that, so they bring theirs, and then person A brings that, person B brings that, and then there's a rooster, and then it just gets weird.
I love it.
But yeah, they all meet, and we tend to find um, resonance or congruency actually in those dynamics.